Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my first impressions to Velma. So, this is a series that I am cautious about, I guess is the best way to put it. Because when this was first announced, like they're going to be doing an adult oriented series on Velma, um, I thought cool, neat. Let's see where this goes. They released the first teaser trailer, which was an homage to Scream, and I'm thinking like, okay, this looks like this could be pretty good. And then they released the full trailer like a few days back, basically, because streaming does that for some reason. It's like it only releases a trailer like not even a week before the actual release. Uh, sometimes, sometimes it's more, but depends on the series. But animated series, this happens to a lot. I've noticed. Um, but they released the full trailer, and I'm looking at like, huh, this looks like it's just trying to be Harley Quinn. Um, and I've seen other people like comment on things online, and especially on Twitter. There's been a lot of discourse about like, oh, these are teenagers. Why are they being sexualized? It's like they're not. Like being shown that they're in a women's locker room naked, and it's not even like showing detail on anything. It's like that's not sexualization. Nudity in and of itself is not sexualization. It depends on how it's handled, and from what I can tell in there, it does not look like that's the intent or the point of that scene. But I mean, I acknowledge I could be wrong. It depends on how it's presented. Um, but from the trailer and everything, it looks like it's meant to represent more of a expression of vulnerability, considering it seems to be around the scene when they discover a dead body. And nudity can often be used that way, as being unclothed is seen as being vulnerable. It's been used in a lot of movies, a lot of horror movies, even. Like, Carrie does the same thing. You see a character who is in high school, like, you see, well, characters in high school in a locker room. And, yeah, they're pretty much naked, and Carrie has her first period, and everything's freaking out because she doesn't know what's going on. Excuse me. It's showing that she's in a vulnerable state. And yes, that can be done in other ways, obviously. But I don't think it's inherently, like, trying to sexualize minors. Like, believe me, there are other things I've seen that do that, and this doesn't come across that way. Um, but there are other things in the trailer, and people are like saying like, "Oh, the characters don't seem like the characters," and it's like that's not my issue either, because it's like I want these characters reinvented, but not like Mystery Inc. reinvented them, where they just made them unlikable. I want them reinvented to a way where they feel like new characters with maybe some traits and connections to the classics, but feel fresh and aren't just the same old tired tropes just repeated again. As long as they're still likable, that's not an issue. I have no issue with Shaggy being different. I have no issue with Velma being different. It just depends on how that's handled. Mystery Inc. handled this poorly, making Velma a piece of shit. Fred, just an absolute, like, idiot. Shaggy was pretty much the same, admittedly. um, but yeah, I want them to be changed. And yes, I have heard some discourse on the fact that they've been uh their skin color has been changed, and people have there have been some people who have been being racist about it. So let's just put it that way. Um, the fact that Daphne is Asian now, the fact that Velma and Shaggy are dark skinned and everything. It's like I've seen people being terrible about this, and it's like, ugh. It's just, it's so dumb. It's so dumb that this shit still exists, that it's still going on. But there's not really anything that can be done about it at this point. Just kind of have to grit our teeth and block people like that, basically. Um, my issues with this, though, don't stem from any of that kind of stuff. My issues stem from the fact that it seems like I said it's trying to be Harley Quinn. You take an already existing property, ramp up its adult themes and humor, even adding in the queerness um, that some people acknowledge was basically already there, even if it was never directly shown or stated before. In this case, in Harley Quinn, with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, it has been shown before, but you know, and technically by this point it has with the Scooby Doo characters too, because of the Trick or Treat Scooby Doo movie. But yeah, it seems like it's going for the same style of humor, the same kind of just general concept and idea. And it's not an inherently bad thing, but it feels like it's just trying to copy it. It feels like it's not doing it because it's wanting to do something new. It feels like it's doing it because Harley Quinn is successful. Let's do this with this property too. That's what it feels like. And I'm hoping to be wrong. I'm hoping that this is inaccurate and this does feel more unique and it feels more like its own thing. Because if this does just feel like a shameless cash grab just to capitalize on that style, then I'm going to be very disappointed, to say the least. Um, Kind of makes me think of there's this new anime that I think just started airing this season called Buddy Daddies, which is basically just gay spy family. And I don't even know if it's actually explicitly gay or not. Basically, it's about two career criminals who have to suddenly take on the job of taking care of a little girl. Um, and, you know, shenanigans ensue. It's basically Spy Family. Everybody is compared it because it's basically the same thing. Just the specifics are different. And it's two guys instead of a guy and a girl. Um, and it's just like, I haven't seen it, admittedly, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it seems like a shameless ripoff to me. It just seems like that's what it's doing. It's trying to be the next Spy Family. It's following the formula. And I'm even though I haven't seen it, I can't judge it on its merits. All I can say is that just from the current outsider perspective I have of it, it just looks like a shameless ripoff. And I'm hoping that Velma is not that with in terms of Harley Quinn. I'm hoping that it's not just a shameless rip on that kind of formula and it stands out as its own thing. Because there's a lot that I do genuinely like that they've done. I like that they're changing up the characters. I like that this is more mature. I like that the mysteries being solved are murder mysteries and shit. And guess what? I like that there's no Scooby-Doo. Because a lot of people have been complaining about that. It's like, did you not, like, hear the main, like, plot of this at all? It's like, this is literally before Scooby-Doo. That's literally the point. The series will probably end with, like, Scooby coming into the picture. Literally, the point of this is that it's the Mystery Inc. gang coming together as Mystery Inc. pre-Scooby-Doo, before the introduction of the dog. That's the entire idea. It's like, people complaining about that, it's like, are you dumb? Um, and then if anyone's like, just, anyone's gonna try to say, like, oh, but Scooby's like the connecting tissue for all of it. It's like, you can't have a Scooby-based series without Scooby. It's like, yes, you can. Shut up. That's a stupid argument. You don't need Scooby-Doo in there. You can have a series focusing on the other characters. Basically, the way to put it is, this is not a Scooby-Doo series. This is a Velma series. She is the main character. She is the focus, and this is about her and even the rest of the Mystery Inc. gang before Scooby comes into the picture. Just like how Masters of the Universe Revelation is not a He-Man series. It's not about him. He's not the main character. And that's fine. That's what these complaints feel like to me. That's not the issues. The issues are that it seems like it could go in the wrong directions with the humor and just the style of it being way too much like Harley Quinn. I've also seen some people, by the way, say that it reminds them of other like adult shows. Like, people have said like Big Mouth and all. And I'm thinking, like, the fuck are you on to make this remind you of Big Mouth? It's like nothing about this is similar to Big Mouth. Just because it's an adult animated series does not mean it's like Big Mouth. It's like, no, this is very clearly supposed to be like Harley Quinn. And I'm hoping it's just in the style and that it doesn't take too much from it. I'm hoping that it does still retain its own identity. So, with all of that being said, the basic reason I'm choosing to do this as a first impressions rather than going into the series as a whole is, as I said, I don't know what I'm going to think about this. I want to give it the first impressions treatment to see kind of my initial thoughts on it and kind of go from there. If this first episode surprises me in a positive way, then I wouldn't be opposed to seeing more, reacting to more. But if this first episode disappoints me or like kind of proves my fears, then even if I do watch it, I would probably rather do it on my own. Or hell, maybe it just might end up being absolute shit, and I might have to just drop it. That's possible too. But it's so hard to tell from the trailer and everything, like, what it's gonna be like. Um, and it's just, it's so mixed for me. So I just have to give it a shot. Um, and we'll see. So let's just get this started and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, visually speaking, this series looks good. Some of the background character designs are a little honestly. But like all the main designs and everything look good. Um, it has a good notable visual style. Not to mention the animation itself, especially like during the God, what is it called? The nightmare scenes, I guess you could say, is really good. Like really good. The voice acting's fine, no issues there. Um, and I like the kind of tone it sets with the soundtrack. That all being said, none of my issues, or rather, that's wording it the wrong way. Um, all of the issues that other people had that I didn't have, again, not an issue. Reinventing the characters, changing up their personalities and stuff, that is completely fine, and I think it was fine in this. Um, my issue comes with the humor and the try hardness of this. This series comes across not as a Harley Quinn clone. It's not clever enough for that. With its humor and how try hard it honestly feels more along the likes of something like Rick and Morty. It's trying to be adult for the sake of being adult. It just tries to be vulgar and crass and like ridiculous. It's this is basically an example of the worst kind of adult humor. The kind of adult humor that is lazy, uninspired, and just entirely reliant on being as crude as possible. In that way, it's also kind of like stuff like Family Guy or whatnot, where it's like it's not funny. It's just it's just ridiculous. And again, the personalities of the characters, the general personalities, Velma being kind of jaded and sick of everybody's shit, Daphne kind of being this stereotypical popular girl, Fred being a kind of rich white asshole, and Shaggy or Norville rather, because technically he's not called Shaggy in this, being this kind of almost neurotic weirdo. Um, because he's pretty weird in this and shows a few signs of cowardice, but not like to obviously the level that we see in normal Scooby Doo stuff. But at the same time, it's like he's different enough, and I like that, and I like that with all the characters. The problem is the humor they try to interject with the characters and everything just does not work. Like almost at all. I think nothing in this was funny. Like there's this recurring joke, for example, about the cops, Daphne's moms, being like admittedly bad cops and just trying to do anything to get a quote unquote win. And it's like unless you have evidence though, and if you put away the wrong person, it's like that wouldn't be a win for you. It's like that just doesn't work as a joke because it's so stupid. On top of it, you have like the entire thing with the meta-ness, the not really fourth wall breaking, it's just meta nature of it. Like the series, it starts out. The episode begins with what is supposed to be this big meta satire joke about nudity in these kinds of shows or in movies or whatnot, where it's like, oh, you have the kids being nude just for sexual gratification and stuff, and it's like the characters are saying this while they're naked in a girl's locker room and everything, and it's just like, okay, you're trying to make a satire joke here. You're trying to make a meta joke about this kind of stuff, like even bringing in the over sexualization of things and how even like characters like make out just for the sake of having like the quote unquote hotness in there, hotness factor. Um, and then you have Daphne like right after have like this cat fight with another girl in the shower and everything. It's like you're trying to make a meta joke about this and you're not doing it right. There's a way to do meta jokes and satire on over sexualization of characters. And one, you don't just fucking call it out like that in the series. Like you can call out things to work as a meta joke, but not like that, not that blatantly, not that heavily. It's like, and that's the thing throughout this entire episode. They try to like do these meta jokes, poking fun at all these different tropes and all, but they're going so heavy into it that it ruins it. It stops it from being a joke and just ends up being more annoying. It's just like that's not how you do that at all. And I don't get it. I don't. Um I don't know what it's going for. I don't know what this is trying to do. And I don't think at least it doesn't seem like the people working on this know either. It just seems like they are trying to just be quote unquote adult by throwing in as much sex jokes and crude and crass humor and stuff as possible to avoid actually, putting forth any effort. It's ridiculous. Like again, I made the comparison, like the pre-watching comparison to Harley Quinn, but it's nothing like that. Like I said, it's not that clever. Harley Quinn is exceptionally clever with its humor and with how it satirizes a lot of these tropes. And not everything in Harley Quinn works either, but at the same time, it tries. It's putting forth an effort and trying to actually, do something and say something with its commentary on this kind of stuff. It doesn't like bash it over your head. It keeps it subtle and well integrated into things while still putting the story first. And that doesn't seem to be what this is doing. Again, this feels more like Rick and Morty or Family Guy, where it's like, we're just going to focus on the crude, crass, adult humor, and the story is second. I'm trying to find something positive to say about all that, but I really can't. Like outside of the stuff I said at the beginning of these afterthoughts, just the general stuff about I like the different direction they went with the characters. The voice acting is good, the soundtrack is good, the art and animation is good. Outside of stuff like that, it's like, what else can I say? because the story is so poorly handled. The characters and the humor that surrounds them is so bad. Not the characters and how they're, changed, but in terms of how they're written. Like the dialogue feels unnatural. There's like all these like wink wink nod nod moments at the audience. Or wink wink nudge nudge. I guess you could say nod nod. It doesn't matter. They don't put in fucking effort, so why should I? Um, there's all those kind of moments at the audience. Like the part where they're in the car and Norville says something about drugs and it's like, which I hate, and then he just stares at the camera for like 3 seconds and it's like, we get the joke. You don't have to do that. And also the fact that he said that and the way he said it was so cringy, to put it lightly. Like it's like you're not, that feels so unnatural. If you want to put that joke in there, you can make it feel natural. And then there was the entire scene where they're confronting Velma in the bathroom, the popular girls, and there's the entire toilet flushing thing joke, and it's like that's not funny. Did you think that was funny? There's no humor to it. It's completely void of humor. It's like that's not funny. It's just not. everybody everybody has been, since especially the trailer came out, everybody's been calling out this, saying it looked cringy and terrible and like this was going to be just an absolute waste of time, and that pretty much anyone who watches it would be hate watching it, basically, because there's no reason to say this looks good or whatnot. And I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, not just because Velma was always my favorite Scooby Doo character, but because I thought like there could be some value in this. I see where there could be value in this. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt and give it a chance. And I kind of wish I didn't. It's that bad. Like, I don't like Family Guy. I don't like Rick and Morty. I hate that style of humor. I make no secret of that. If you like that humor, fine, whatever. You're allowed to. That's perfectly valid. It is your right. But I'm just sharing my opinion here, and I'm just sharing this from my perspective. I don't like that kind of humor. I don't think it's humor. I don't think it's funny. I don't think there's any value to it. It's just it's not humor in my eyes. And not to mention, I mean, Family Guy is also needlessly offensive in the worst possible ways. And Rick and Morty is pretentious as fuck. Um, but then you have this, which seems to be copying that style of humor, and it's just, it's so cringy. It's so try hard. It's trying so fucking hard to be an adult Scooby Doo series. The funny thing is, regular Scooby Doo, like Scooby Doo Where Are You, or most of those other series, are honestly more fucking adult than this. Like, adult does not mean crass and crude humor. It does not mean needless and tasteless sex jokes. It does not mean just this. This is not what adult humor is. And you can do stuff like this right. You can do crude and crass jokes right. You can do sexual humor right. Watch fucking Futurama. Like, Futurama does this kind of shit well. Like, really well at times. There's some things that are obviously don't work that well. And then there's some jokes in it just did not age well at all. But overall, Futurama understood how to do this kind of humor properly. Matt Groening and the rest of the crew for that series understood how to do adult humor, even to the point of doing crude and crass stuff and sexual stuff, but do it in a way that felt more natural. In a way that didn't just feel like it was trying to be edgy and adult. Because when you're trying to be edgy and adult, your series does not come off as adult. It comes off as immature as fuck. I tried. I tried. I gave this the benefit of the doubt. I gave it a chance. I can't do this. I don't know if I'll end up watching more of it on my own time. I don't know. I guess it's being released 2 episodes at a time, so there's already a second episode out. Um, but it's like I definitely cannot react to this. I just can't. I can't do it. Like, I would much rather react to Mystery Inc. again. I would much rather give that another chance than go back into this at all. Because even though Mystery Inc. made me, like, hate characters like Velma, this just is so cringy. At least Mystery Inc. was fun to some degree. At least it had some entertainment. At least it wasn't trying so fucking hard to be edgy and failing miserably. Also, there's a character in this that looked like fucking Adora from She-Ra, and it's like the hair was practically identical, and she was also very tall, and it's like just why? Like, I don't know if that was intentional, but if it wasn't, that's just even kind of weirder because it's pretty much identical. Just obviously in a different art style. It's like those memes you see of like artists drawing characters in different shows' art styles. It's basically just Adora drawn in this show's art style. And it's like, just, I don't understand. Like, I genuinely don't get it. I, I, if, I kind of have to hope that was just an unintentional thing. Just because I don't understand why they would put that in there as like a intentional thing. Um, I'm just very confused by what I have witnessed. I don't know. All I can say is that we are definitely not continuing this series for reactions. I need a drink. I need whiskey, like, after that shit. Like, I wanted it to be good. I gave it the benefit of the doubt. Oh my god, I was proven so wrong on this one. I don't regret giving it the benefit of the doubt. I really don't. I'm willing to give any show a chance, but by god. Yeah, people were right on this. People were right that it seemed cringy. Oh my god. Though this is getting a lot of blowback from the internet. Like, people do not seem to like this at all. I've seen almost nobody talk about this positively. In fact, I don't know if I have seen anybody talk about this positively at all. It's just no one is liking this. This probably won't last for more than a season. Or if it does, they're just like basically saying fuck the viewers. Their opinions don't matter, which is I don't know. I don't know anymore. The fact that this makes me kind of want to give Mystery Inc. another shot is the weirdest fucking feeling to me. But I don't know. I don't know. Um, I guess tell me what you thought of this first episode of Velma in the comments below. I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.